Hi, it's Nadine here. This is the weekly video that I make. Every week I've committed this year to talk about something that is very close to my heart, something that I'm working on, and that is meant to inspire others, to help you make your life as happy and easy and enjoyable as possible. That's why I'm doing this. The reason, maybe it's just selfish, the more there's happy people, the easier life comes for me. Imagine everybody being happy. How easy would life be? Nobody grumpy, nobody upsetting you. You are nothing triggering you. You just go like, oh, I'm so happy all the time. So that's why I'm doing it. Everybody be happy. I can still feel a lot of tension being built up. We just had this full moon, like as full as it could get, right? It wasn't easy, but and this is something you have to trust really deeply, is that you never ever get an experience that you are not ready to deal with. The universe is benign. Whatever you get to deal with is something you can deal with. What I want to talk about today is, and you know how I often say, everything's energy. Everything is energy in motion, constantly changing. And the way our bodies are built, we have senses, we can see and hear and smell, we have these senses. So what happens, and I've written some things down so I don't lose the thread as I'm talking, because I always interrupt myself. So what happens is that when we perceive something, when we see something, that energy of, let's say, I'm walking here in my garden and I see grass. So the grass, it goes to the eyes, and the grass doesn't end up in my eyes, right? It gets like translated into an energy that moves to the mind, that'll go grass. And sometimes, like, there's all these filters then that it could go to. It could go like, oh, it's green grass or dry grass, or, but the first impression that the sense have is in the here and the now, always, to perceive with your senses what is happening. So try to do that. Try to go and stick with that first thought. Don't go to dry grass with grass. Become aware and slow down that mind as you walk, that you are perceiving energy, and your senses are on, and they translate into electrical pulses that go into the brain, into the mind. So, for example, what you can have then is an energy pattern. And they are like waves. They're supposed to move. You don't get stuck because you're walking on grass. You just keep walking on grass, moving through. And that is the way energy normally goes. It's a wave, and it has to move. You can't block energy. What happens when you convert the information, you, as I said, you translate it to data through electrical nerve impulses, and they leave an impression that goes into your mind. You can actually, compare it to, you can have a sensor to put the lights on somewhere. It's the same thing that our eyes will do, or our ears. The problem is when you start to resist. When I go, ooh, that grass, I'm resisting this grass because it's too dry or it's too wet. That's a resistance to the grass. But mostly it is something more personal. Like, I would then see a flower that in my past I had a memory. Somebody gave me that flower and then afterwards hurt me. You see what I mean? And then I resist that flower and I go, I don't like violets. They make me feel blue. At that moment, when I do that, instead of the energy of that violet flower flowing through me, I block it. I say no to the violet. Okay with the grass, no to the violet. And the thing is that what I normally, the good energy would be just like violet, run through and have the awareness that it goes through the mind, and the mind sets off these neurotransmitters going, alarm, alarm, alarm bells, violet's no good. Stay present in the here and the now. What happens with the signal? So it first goes to the mind, and if you then go, oh yeah, let's let it go to the mind, it continues to go to the heart where we experience life, where all from the mind it runs through. So if you each time can bring it then to the here now presence, into your heart, where your full chi energy, your awareness is experienced, then it keeps moving. You can release it through the heart. That's what a fully awakened being would do. However, because we're not fully awakened beings, we're just on our way there, we usually, what would happen is when we resist the energy, we create a block. And because we can only contain that energy so long, we create in our heart an energetic block. And when I do my aura readings, I actually can see those blocks within people's system. They're like videos behind. So I think the Indians call it the samskara in the Sanskrit. The samskaras are there where we have refused to let the pure light of our heart chakra, of the chi, to flow through, where we put in a block and say, this, no, I resist this. Or the things you cling to, because both is not working with the energy, it's not allowing, it's not in flow. When you resist, it persists. And when you cling, you don't let it flow, and you lose the power of experiencing constantly new inputs because you don't let go of one that you liked. So as you struggle to have this energy flow through your conscious, you release first through the mind, and you try to make a mental concept out of it. And when that doesn't help, as I said, it becomes emotional, and you have an emotional activity then. This energy gets stored into your heart, into this impression, in like a pattern, and that pattern can repeat itself. Years later, as I said, somebody gives you a violet and declares ever love, and then afterwards, none of it is true, and you feel really hurt. And each time you then see violets, that pattern starts to play. It's an impression, a blockage, and an unfinished energy, and they end up actually running our lives. All what we resist starts to run our lives, and that's where our unhappiness is. And I notice every day with people the refusal to go to their pain point. There where the first samskaras were created, where they originally say, oh, I'm not going to feel that emotion because it's going to be painful. If you feel the emotion, you feel the pain, it moves through you. But if you go first in your mental spin, then in an emotional spin, you can create so many of these blockages that you actually can become depressed. You can get really dark. And then you go to a dark night of the soul, where you can then feel and release these energy patterns, and then the light starts coming back in. You can then, like, oh yes, just let it run through, feel that short pain instead of blocking the energy and turning, because if energy is flowing unless it is contained, right? So when you contain it like in an atom, that power stays in there, but it becomes quite powerful. Look at an atom, you can use it to make huge explosions. So you want to make sure that if you want to be happy, that your energy is always expanding through your heart chakra, just experiencing it, and become aware when you have it like an atom in the planets, you know, how they turn around itself. When it becomes the energy like that, it's not going anywhere, and it's a spinning circle. Try to find the valve so you can slowly release that. One of the things that can work, meditation, tapping, sports. There's so many ways to start releasing all these trapped impressions that you have and that sit in your heart and that make a thick heart wall, actually. So it's just no wonder that we feel always overwhelmed. It's because we have lost the capacity to experience every little feeling as it is. I noticed there's a little dog that at the moment is living in one of the cabins, and it has a leg that was amputated very recently. So it's hopping around on 3 legs. Now, funnily enough, that dog is not unhappy. It's a happy dog, and he jumps around, and you know, it's no longer in pain. We as human beings, we would tell so many stories. We would not feel the pain of the dead leg and then go like, oh yeah, I felt that pain. Haha, now what's there? Oh, let me sniff this. Oh, let me go and play there. No, we would get in a head spin. I should have 4 legs. And we would fight with the reality that we would only have, oh no, you have 2 legs. But if you would miss one, we would fight with the reality and say, I need 2 legs. I can't be with 1 leg. We do that every day. We fight what is. We don't let the energy flow through us. We block it, put it in our hearts, and then say to people, please don't touch it. And then we wonder, we feel overwhelmed, we feel down, tired, because we block. We cling to the nice things like, I never want this to go away. Whereas I guess life is like a movie that you're watching. And you don't want to watch the same scene over and over again. I mean, that's Groundhog Day. You don't want that. Just stay open to every experience, every minute, and know that even if it's an unpleasant experience, that 1, it always passes, it never stays, everything's moving. 2, it is something that you can work with. Otherwise, it would not come within your awareness. The universe will not give you opportunities to clear these blocks, because that's why we're here, to remove these patterns. As I say, they go back for lifetimes that you can find them. So be gentle with you in the coming week. We have some big changes coming up. I mean, this really, I can feel this is time of change, and I'm looking forward to next week, the new moon on the 15th as well. Meanwhile, we stay, of course, present. Although it is always good to dream, but dream in the present moment. That means rise your vibration so that your whole heart chakra can open up and show you there where you are carrying these blocked energy patterns, and send love to them, love them up, release them, let them go. I think that was it for this week. So wishing you an amazing time. Take a deep breath like that and sit and just experience what it is to be alive. Just stay with that first thought and think, I'm alive. I'm watching a movie that feels very real, because of my way my sensory input is translating all these energies. And then just let it go. Just allow. Bye for now, and see you soon.